All right, we're rolling. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all you Sip&Talkers out there, wherever you are.
Welcome back. You know, I walked into the studio today, and the vibe was intense.
Intense.
Yeah, you were hunched over this stack of physiological age reports, looking like you were about to write the script for a disaster movie. Seriously, are you calculating your life's depreciation schedule or something?
This is low exhale, something like that. I was thinking about depreciation, actually. This machine we're all driving, our body, it starts depreciating the second it rolls off the assembly line.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a heavy way to start. But you know what? It's perfect. Because that's exactly what we're getting into today. I mean, the scope is huge. We should probably rename this one, The Universe Meaning in Your Knees.
That's not bad.
We're going from the tiniest breakdown in your body, the chronic pains, all the way out to the grand cosmic order. And yeah, we're finally going there. We're talking about death, the thing nobody wants to bring up at the dinner table.
And the whole idea for this, it came from our good friend Micky. He's been going through it lately.
He really has. First, it's his dog, Rebecca. She's got this adorable puppy face, but she's ancient in dog years, 100 years old. And he's just dreading that day, you know.
Totally. But then it turned inward. He started worrying about himself. He feels like his own body is, well, failing him. Stomach problems that won't go away. This new thing with his feet going numb.
Yeah, and that's the terrifying part, isn't it? We live in this age where we think tech can fix everything.
Exactly. There's this illusion that there's an app for that or a pill or some life hack. But when your body starts sending these signals that just can't be fixed, that's when the real despair kicks in.
It's like that image from old movies, you know, the horse with a broken leg, this powerful, beautiful thing, suddenly helpless, and there's nothing you can do.
That's it. And that feeling is why we decided we needed to do this. We need a kind of philosophical system update.
A mental one, for sure. So today we're going to talk about everything, from cognitive science and the universe to, I'm not kidding, why the philosopher Heidegger thought of death as a really effective PE teacher.
We've got the data. Some of it is going to be a little chilling, I'll admit, but we promise. It leads to a place that's actually surprisingly warm.
The big question we're wrestling with is this. Are we supposed to be warriors fighting tooth and nail against aging? Or are we supposed to be more like sages, learning to let go with grace?
It's not a lecture. This is a deep conversation about existence, really.
And you know what's interesting is that in 2025, we're seeing this shift. The data shows that death anxiety is slowly being replaced by something called death literacy.
Which means what exactly?
It means talking about death, understanding it, actually helps you live more clearly. It's not morbid, it's clarifying.
So grab your coffee, or maybe your whiskey, depending on how you feel about entropy.
Let's do it. Let's dive into this. Cosmic adventure.
Okay, so let's start with the cold, hard science, the physics of life.
Yeah, and this is not romantic at all. If you ask a physicist to define life, they won't start with love or consciousness. They'll start with entropy.
Right, the universe's fundamental tendency to slide into chaos, disorder.
Exactly, the second law of thermodynamics.
Right.
And life, from a physics perspective, is just this temporary, localized pocket of order. It's a constant uphill battle against the entire universe's nature.
I think of it like my apartment. You can clean it, organize everything perfectly, and the second you stop, the universe starts winning. Dust settles, things break. Without constant energy cleaning, fixing it just goes back to being a mess.
And that's exactly what our bodies are doing every second. Eating, breathing, even thinking. All of it is just us pulling in energy from the outside to fight off our own collapse.
We're basically exporting our chaos out into the universe so it can stay organized for a little while longer.
A little while longer. That's the key phrase. Life isn't designed to last forever. It's a temporary fix. So death, from this cold, hard perspective.
Yeah.
It's not a flaw. It's inevitable. It's physics finally winning.
You can't cheat physics forever.
Nope. And that battle, that constant fight, leads directly to the physical reality of things like chronic pain and this concept of allostatic load.
Okay, let's break that down. Allostatic load. It sounds complicated.
It's pretty straightforward, actually. We all know about the fight or flight response, right?
Sure. You see a bear, your body floods with cortisol, your heart pounds, you run.
Right. That's an acute stressor. Allostatic load is what happens when that stress system never turns off. The alarm is just constantly ringing day in, day out.
So, like Micky's stomach issues, it's not a bear, but it's this low-level, constant stress signal.
Precisely. Think of it like the check engine light in your car. If it comes on and you just keep driving for months, other parts of the car are going to start failing. That's what's happening in the body.
And that constant flood of cortisol, the stress hormone, it's It's toxic over time.
It's so toxic. It weakens your immune system, it causes inflammation. And here's the vicious cycle. The pain causes stress, and the stress makes the pain worse. It's this biological wear and tear that you can actually measure.
And then it gets even trickier because the brain itself gets involved. You mentioned this double-edged sword of neuroplasticity.
Yeah. We always talk about neuroplasticity as this amazing thing, right? The brain's ability to learn and adapt.
Learn a new language, play the piano.
Exactly. But in chronic pain, the brain learns the pain. It gets too good at it.
Wait, what do you mean it learns the pain?
The nerve pathways that fire pain signals just get overused. They become hypersensitive. The brain actually rewires itself to be more efficient at feeling that pain.
So the pain can stick around even after the original injury is gone.
Yes. That's the cruelest part. It's called central sensitization. The pain stops being a symptom and becomes its own disease, a disease of the nervous system. The brain is literally creating a sensation that no longer has an external cause.
That's deeply unsettling.
It is. And it's why the entire medical field is shifting its focus. We're moving away from this idea of curing aging. That's sci-fi.
Right. The new goal is managing something called health span.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just about your lifespan, the total number of years you're alive. It's about your health span. How many of those years are you healthy, active, and free from debilitating illness?
And those two numbers can be very, very different.
Wildly different. And now we can measure it. We can look at your chronological age, how many birthdays you've had. But we can also measure your physiological age, how old your body actually is on the inside.
Using things like DNA methylation, right? It's like a biological clock.
It's literally an epigenetic clock. It tracks how your lifestyle is affecting your genes in real time. Your physiological age isn't fixed. You could be 40, but have the body of a 50-year-old if you're not taking care of yourself.
Or you could have the body of a 30-year-old. It's controllable.
And the global data on this is, well, it's sobering. The WHO's 2025 report says the average global life expectancy is around 73 years.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
But the average health expectancy, the number of healthy years, is only about 63 or 64.
Wait, so on average, people are spending a decade.
An entire decade. Living with significant illness or disability. That is a huge chunk of your life.
So the goal isn't just to live longer, it's to shorten that period of sickness.
That's the whole strategy. It's called compression of morbidity. You want your health span and your lifespan lines to be as close together as possible. Squeeze that period of illness into the shortest possible time right at the very end. That's the new holy grail of medicine.
Which brings us from the body to the big picture, to the cosmos.
Yeah. Now we pivot. We've established that our time is finite.
Yeah.
So what does that deadline actually mean for us? Philosophically.
This is where it gets really interesting, because the paradox is if we lived forever, life would probably be meaningless.
Right. Think about it. If you had infinite time, would any choice you make actually matter? You could always undo it or do something different a million years from now.
Nothing would be precious. Nothing would be urgent.
Exactly. So our finiteness, our mortality, isn't a curse. It's a value amplifier. It's what makes everything matter.
Because you only get one shot at this. Every choice is expensive because you're spending your one non-renewable resource time.
It's why love feels so profound, why a sunset is so beautiful. Because we know, deep down, that it's all temporary. We're going to lose it. So really, human meaning is derived from the deadline.
But that leads to the other classic argument, the cosmic dread thing.
Oh yeah. The universe is so big, I'm so small, therefore I'm meaningless.
The ultimate excuse for nihilism.
And it's just a total misunderstanding. It's confusing scale with value. The universe doesn't have a scoreboard, meaning isn't a law of physics like gravity. It's something that consciousness creates.
Let's reframe it. Yes, we are unbelievably tiny, a thin film of life on a speck of dust, but here's the kicker.
We're the only part of the universe, as far as we know, that can turn around and look back at it.
And try to understand it.
Just think about the weight of that. It took the universe 13.8 billion years to cook up a piece of itself that was complex enough to ask, what am I? Where did all this come from?
Without us or some other conscious being, the universe just is. It's a bunch of silent physical processes.
But with us, it starts to become aware of itself. That act of observing, of understanding, gives our existence this incredible, undeniable value, no matter how small we are.
We are the universe's fleeting moment of self-awareness.
Which, of course, brings us to aliens, to E.T.
Right. Does finding life out there change everything?
It's funny. It wouldn't change your day-to-day life at all. It wouldn't fix Mickey's numb feet. but it would change everything about how we see ourselves as a species.
Okay, so scenario 1, ET exists.
If ET exists, it means life isn't a one-off miracle. It's a repeatable phenomenon. We're not so special. That might humble us a bit, but it also makes us part of a bigger cosmic club.
Okay, scenario 2, we're alone.
Now that's the profound one. If this is the only place in this vast universe where consciousness is sparked,
then everything we do becomes incredibly important.
Overwhelmingly important. Every piece of art, every scientific discovery, every act of love is the universe's only attempt at knowing itself. We'd be the sole guardians of meaning.
So either way, we have value. The point isn't to find some pre-written meaning of life.
Exactly. That's the wrong question. The better question is, okay, there's no instruction manual, so what have we done with our time? Meaning is the trace we leave behind.
We can even break that down into like 3 layers. The first is local meaning.
That's your impact on the people right next to you, your family, your friends, your community, the day-to-day stuff.
Then there's extension meaning. This is the stuff that outlasts you. A book you write, a business you build, knowledge you pass on.
You're adding to the collective human story.
And finally, there's cosmic meaning, which is just being part of it, being a conscious piece of the universe, doing its thing.
Yeah. Meaning isn't something you find. It's something you build every single day.
And that construction project gets a lot more focused when you have to confront the ultimate deadline, when you have to face the end.
This is where philosophy really has to step in. Because for centuries, the smartest people have been trying to figure out how to deal with this.
Let's start with Epicurus. His argument was so simple and elegant.
It really is. He just said, look, you shouldn't fear death because you and death will never be in the same room.
His logic was, when we exist, death is not here. When death is here, we do not exist.
Right. The conscious you that is capable of experiencing fear will be gone by the time death arrives.
Yeah.
So you're literally afraid of something you can never experience. It's irrational.
It's a neat trick, but then you have Heidegger, who is not about comfort at all.
No, Heidegger's about discipline. He saw our awareness of death, being towards death, he called it, as the thing that gives life its structure and authenticity.
He said most of us live in Das Man, or the they.
Yeah, just doing what they do, what society expects. You buy the right car, you have the right job, you post the right things online. It's an inauthentic herd mentality life.
And knowing you're going to die is what can shake you out of that. It forces you to ask, okay, but what do I actually want? What do I value?
That's why we call him a PE teacher. He's yelling at you to get off the sidelines and live your own life before the whistle blows. The failing body forces that internal focus.
But before you get to that philosophical place, you usually have to go through the emotional storm.
Oh yeah, the Kubler-Ross 5 stages of grief.
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. D-Day-D-A.
And it applies to any big loss, especially the loss of your health.
We were joking about applying it to dropping your phone in the toilet. Denial. It's fine. It's probably waterproof.
Anger. This stupid company. Why did I buy this? Bargaining. Please phone. If you turn on, I'll never text and walk again.
Depression. My whole life was on that phone. And finally, acceptance. Okay, I need to go to the Apple store.
It's funny because it's true. But the key thing to remember is that it's not a neat, linear process.
Yeah?
You don't just check off one stage and move to the next.
No, it's messy. You bounce all over the place. From anger back to bargaining. From depression to a weird moment of acceptance, and then back to denial.
It's a chaotic human process. And we need to understand it because, as the anthropologist Ernest Becker argued, our whole lives are basically structured around denying death.
He called them immortality projects. Religion, art, getting rich, having kids. All of it is a way to feel like some part of you will live on. A way to pretend we're not just going to turn back into fertilizer.
But that denial is starting to crack. This death awareness movement is about being practical. It's about preparation.
And the data on being prepared is just incredible. The Journal of Palliative Medicine found that families who have these conversations ahead of time, advanced care planning, have a 35% lower risk of depression after a loved one dies.
It's a gift of clarity you give to the people you're leaving behind.
And it helps the patient, too. Signing a DNR order was correlated with a 40% reduction in their pain levels in the last month of life.
Just making the decision brings peace. It reduces the stress, which reduces the physical pain.
Which leads us to the most difficult, most ethically tangled part of this entire conversation.
The horse with a broken leg dilemma. Medical aid in dying.
Modern medicine is amazing. But it's gotten so good at keeping the body alive that it often just prolongs the dying process, not the living process.
And this is where someone like the Stoic philosopher Seneca comes in. He said the door is open. If you're in a room filled with smoke and you can't breathe, leaving isn't cowardice, it's rational.
But applying that today is so hard. You have two powerful arguments in conflict.
On one side, you have the pro-mercy argument, that autonomy, the right to choose, is the ultimate human freedom, that choosing how and when to end your own suffering is the final act of dignity.
You see countries like Canada and the Netherlands expanding the criteria for MAID to include unbearable psychological suffering, not just terminal illness.
Right, but then you have the other side, the slippery slope argument. The fear that if we make this an option, it will subtly become an expectation for people who are expensive to care for or who have severe disabilities.
The fear that society will start to see it as a convenient way to abandon its most vulnerable members?
It's a profound ethical knot. But there's a really interesting piece of data that helps frame it. The Quality of Death Index.
Right. It ranks countries on how well they care for people at the end of life.
And the countries at the top, like the UK and Australia, aren't necessarily the ones with the most liberal euthanasia laws. They're the ones with the absolute best palliative and hospice care.
So the takeaway is that when you give people world-class pain management, when you can truly alleviate their suffering,
the desire for a hastened death plummets. The real focus should be on making life livable, on managing the suffering, not just offering an exit.
Which is the perfect transition to our last big topic. How do we actually live with this? How do we build resilience when the self starts to fail?
Because when the body breaks down, it's not just a physical crisis.
Yeah.
It's an identity crisis.
Yeah, our society is obsessed with what you can do. I'm a runner, I'm a writer, I'm a manager. Our identity is tied to our function.
So when you can't run or work anymore, who are you? Your identity shatters. You go from being a person to being a patient.
The key to adapting, then, is shifting your sense of self-worth, from the doing self to the being self.
It's about finding value in your existence itself, in your wisdom, your presence, your relationships. It's finding the you that exists underneath all the labels and abilities.
And there's a beautiful Japanese philosophy that captures this perfectly. Kintsugi.
Oh, I love this. It's the art of repairing broken pottery. But instead of hiding the cracks, they mend them with lacquer mixed with gold dust.
So the repaired object doesn't just look new, it looks more beautiful. The cracks, the damage become part of its history, highlighted in gold.
It's the perfect metaphor. The scars on your body, the limitations, the pain, they aren't failures. They are the golden seams of a life fully lived. They show you've been through something.
And we have to be so careful not to moralize illness, to think it's some kind of punishment.
Right. As Susan Sontag said, illness is just another nationality of life. It's a place you could find yourself living in. It doesn't define your character.
But, okay, while philosophy helps with acceptance, we're not helpless. The lifestyle data is where we find our power. This is the action part.
And the data is so hopeful. It basically says your genes are not your destiny. Not even close.
Right. Genetics account for, what, maybe 10% of your longevity?
At most. Lifestyle and environment are overwhelmingly more important. The choices you make matter more than the DNA you were born with.
And the research has boiled it down to a few key habits. The Harvard 8.
Let's list them. Regular exercise, not smoking, a healthy diet, low alcohol, normal BMI, good sleep, strong social connection, and positive stress management.
Following these can add 10, even 20 years of healthy life. And the best part, it works even if you start late. Starting these habits at 65 still gives you huge benefits.
And let's just double click on that social connection piece. It's not a nice to have. The data shows it's a must have.
Chronic loneliness is as bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It causes inflammation. It raises your stress hormones. It literally contributes to that allostatic load we talked about.
You see this in the blue zones, right? The places where people live to be 100 in great health.
Yeah, and their secrets are so simple. They move naturally, they eat mostly plants, they have tight-knit social circles, and they have a sense of purpose. An ikigai.
A reason to get out of bed in the morning. That purpose itself is a powerful medicine.
Even just your attitude matters. A positive view of aging was shown to give people a 30% higher chance of recovering from cognitive impairment.
Your mindset literally changes your brain chemistry.
So the final battle here, it isn't really against the physical decay, it's about reclaiming the narrative.
Yes. When the world wants to define you by your disease or your limitations, You have to be the one who tells your own story.
The process of decay, in a way, is a kind of forced minimalism. You shed all the extra stuff, status, looks, peak performance, and you're left with what's essential.
The pure will to be. I like the analogy of the old car.
It's a good one. It's not fast or shiny anymore. It leaks oil. It makes weird noises.
But the mileage on it? The places it's been, the stories it could tell, that's a kind of value a brand new car off the lot can't even touch.
That's dignity. The journey, not the peak performance.
So we've covered a lot. The physics, the philosophy, the practical stuff. It was heavy.
It was. But it's strange when you pull the lens all the way back out to the cosmos again, it doesn't feel as heavy. It just feels beautiful.
It does. I mean, the starting paradox is that we're these temporary things fighting against chaos.
But the very atoms that make us up, the carbon, the iron in our blood, were forged inside an exploding star billions of years ago. We are literally made of stardust.
So when the body breaks down, it's not really an ending. It's more like a long, slow handover ceremony. The machine is just returning its borrowed parts back to the universe.
The machine breaks, but the things it created while it was running, the love, the ideas, the connections, that's the real energy that lasts.
And speaking of connection, let's end with that warmest heart data we promised. This is the big takeaway from the Harvard Study of Adult Development and The Lancet.
This is for you and for Micky.
When you look at what actually predicts happiness and dignity in old age, when the body is failing, it is not your cholesterol levels. It is not your muscle mass.
It's the quality of your relationships.
Overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
High-quality social connection is the #1 factor. The people who love you for who you are, not what you do. That is the ultimate health insurance.
And it's measurable. We found that people who have a strong sense of meaning and purpose have a pain tolerance that is 22% higher than average.
Wow.
The strength of your spirit literally soothes the pain in your body.
You are not a broken machine. You are a life experiencing the universe's full rhythm, the beautiful parts and the painful parts.
Embrace the fight, but appreciate the deadline.
That's right. So while this stardust shell of ours is still moving, go hug someone you love. Or eat a really, really good meal.
I'm Sunny.
And I'm Joe. Whatever tomorrow brings, we'll face it together.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to Sip and Talk wherever you get your shows.
And please go check out our friend Micky's YouTube channel. It's called Micky to Life. It's full of fun memes and amazing travel vlogs. We'll see you next time.